Left-hander David Boomer Wells returns to the mound for the first time in over 2 months tonight as the Boston Red Sox host the Cleveland Indians next on Monday Night Baseball. With 227 victories to his credit, he has a winning pedigree. Now Red Sox Nation hopes that a finally healthy 43-year-old David Wells has some more W's in his tank. He'll have plenty of offense to support his cause. Boston, fueled by two of today's most feared sluggers, ranks third in the majors in runs. David Ortiz leads the major leagues in home runs and RBIs. His cohort Manny Ramirez is nearing 30 home runs for the 11th time in his career. Together, they combine to form an unavoidable juggernaut for opposing pitchers. But the Indians have plenty of punch of their own, and they will test Wells tonight. Travis Hafner, who already has hit 5 grand slams this season, leads the Tribe's attack on Fenway's fences. Boston, with the second best record in the majors at home this season, takes on Cleveland in front of the Fenway faithful next on Monday Night Baseball. From Fenway Park in Boston, it's ESPN's Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn. And this evening, the Red Sox entertain the Indians on this warm July night in New England. As we prepare to round the corner into August, the Red Sox lead over the Yankees has shrunk to half a game in the East. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fenway. Dave O'Brien alongside Rick Sutcliffe. Aaron Andrews joining us in just a moment. Great to have you with us at Fenway Park. And Sut, around these parts, it's as traditional as a vacation on Cape Cod for a typical New England family. It's the Red Sox and the Yankees in a great pennant race. They're at it again. The lead down a half a game, as mentioned. The Yankees firing that big volley, getting Bobby Abreu in a major trade over the weekend. But for the Red Sox, kind of quietly countering things by bringing back David Wells off the disabled list. We'll see if that's enough in the end for Boston, but he had sizzle to any pennant race.
I tell you what, and this crowd has the feel tonight of a playoff-type atmosphere. David Wells with some of the best postseason numbers in the history of baseball. We know about the 227 career wins. We know about 15 wins last year. We also know that in his career, he's 20-4 against these Cleveland Indians. But what we don't know is what to expect out of the 43-year-old tonight. Even manager Terry Francona told us that he hopes that his knee is okay to carry them to a win tonight into the postseason this year.
Well, that's the question as we bring in Aaron. Now, Aaron, it's a warm night. He's a big guy. The tender knee and all of that. Is it going to hold up on a night like tonight against the Indians?
Well, Obie, it's funny because about a month and a half ago, David Boomer Wells told me he didn't even know if he was going to ever be able to pitch again. So what happened? What's been the difference? Went down to San Diego for rehab. Trainers changed out a big, bulky brace to a less constricting tape wrap. For some reason, that did the trick. Red Sox manager Terry Francona told me pitch count not an issue tonight. He could go 1 to 9 innings. He said David Wells may not look good, but his arm certainly does, guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Well, the season hasn't looked very good at all back in Cleveland. They were supposed to contend like the Red Sox are for a pennant this summer. It hasn't happened. It's been bust, but not for Travis Hafner, their big left-hand slugger. You look at his on-base percentage, his slugging percentage, he's been tremendous.
Yeah, he's doing it again. At 29 years of age, he's putting together a solid career as a designated hitter for the Cleveland Indians. Back in 2004, only Manny Ramirez had a higher combined on-base percentage and slugging percentage than did Travis Hafner. Last year, it was only the American League MVP Alex Rodriguez that had higher numbers. You can see this year he's doing it once again. Dave, it's really his team, and he's the one bat in that lineup that opposing pitchers will tell you they do not want to let him beat you.
Facing Wells tonight, he's actually hitting 20 points better against left-handers than he is against right-handers. Of course, the Indians elected to build around some talented young stars. Some have not played well, but Hafner certainly has in the American League's top 5 in homers and RBIs. He knows with Boomer Wells on the hill, he'll get lots of strikes to hit. The Sox are hoping that Wells, with him back, they have the pitching to hold off the Yankees in the East. Fans packing Fenway on the last evening in July. Boston opening up a 4-game series with Cleveland. And coming up, on Monday Night Baseball. A bumper crop of rookies have not just become stars in the American League. They're playing for October, too. But who should be Rookie of the Year? At the deadline, some big names were traded. Others were not. We'll examine the who and the why. And Big Papi is the king of the big hit. Tonight, the art of hitting in the clutch. All to come on Monday Night Baseball. Red Sox manager Terry Francona has no new names to pencil into his lineup tonight. The Red Sox, at least for now, standing pat. They did not make a trade to counter the rival Yankees. Indians manager Eric Wedge has changed his lineup often this season because his ball club has dramatically underperformed. The Indians have made several personnel changes. Here's a look at the Cleveland starting lineup to face David Wells tonight. And one subtle change has been the position switch for Victor Martinez from catcher, and so he continues to hit, but he's getting looks now as a first baseman.
Yeah, over the last 2.5 years, no catcher in all of baseball had more RBIs than he did. But you know what? He's not catching tonight because of his throwing problems. He was out earlier today working on his throws to second base, but if he doesn't improve there, he'll be the first baseman next year.
And the man he faces tonight is the left-hander David Wells. Got a rousing ovation when he came out to the hill, making only his third start of the season.
And you know what? At 43 years of age, it's probably his last year. You never know with Boomer. He will never forget that ovation. And because that's what the fans gave to him, you know the competitor in David Wells, the big heart that he's got, he wants to give them something back tonight.
Well, really, the summer hasn't been the same without the outsized left-hander on the scene. Here's a look at how the Red Sox will back him up defensively. And that's to say very, very well. Now, there were a lot of trade rumors swirling around Fenway the last 24 hours. One of them revolved around Mike Lowell, who has won 1 Gold Glove. You see no errors in 57 games.
Take a look at that. He won the Gold Glove last year, of course, in the National League with Florida. Scott Rowland was injured. You know what? He's going to push Eric Chavez for that award this year in the American League.
So look at Mike Lowell. All grins because he's staying in Boston, and a career .977 fielding percentage. Both he and Loretta, who is in at second base, both very fine defensively, were in the center of some trade rumors, but the Red Sox did not part with them. So here's Wells on the hill tonight, and his first pitch is up high for ball 1. The first pitch he has thrown in a big league game since the 26th of May.
And like he always has throughout his career, he can make adjustments as far as his mechanics are concerned and usually come right back with a strike.
Drops that one just a little bit low in the eyes of C.B. Bucknor. It's Grady Sizemore in the box, the center fielder, having a fine season. One Indian who has lived up to the higher expectations this season, leading the American League in runs scored. And 2/3 into the season, as he looks at a strike, he is also in the top 10 in total bases, doubles, triples, and hits.
You know, and I even love to watch him when he hits a ground ball to second. Because if you're the second baseman, you better hurry and get that throw over there, because he will hustle and beat it out.
The 2-1. It's taken just a little bit high, says Bucknor. On deck, Jason Michaels, and then Travis Hafner. And not a bad night, not to disparage the Indians, but not a bad night for Wells to make his comeback against a lineup that has at times scuffled mightily. And not a lot of danger spots in it. This one raked to right field on the move. Willie Pena is going to make the catch into the sunshine, down into that corner. Trot Nixon just placed on the disabled list after injuring a bicep on a swing last night. Pena dealing with the sun pretty effectively here.
You know, and he played a lot of center field when Coco Crisp was injured, and there were some adjustments to make out there with the angles in field. Now you've got the pesky pole down there and the shadows to deal with for probably the first hour of this game.
Some shadows down there at the hour that Sud mentioned, just after 7 o'clock local time. And here's Jason Michaels as Wells gets his first hitter. And that is down and in for a ball on Michaels, hitting .273 with 8 homers and 39 runs batted in.
You see Boomer shake his head right there. He knows with the strike zone of C.B. Bucknor behind home plate tonight, it's as small as there is in baseball. He thought that pitch was a strike.
The 1-0. Left it up high, 2-0. Bases empty, 1 out, just getting started on a beautiful night at a jam-packed Fenway. Wells began the season on the disabled list, recovering from knee surgery. off the outside corner, made one start, sprained that knee, then came back 6 weeks later and was drilled on the same knee by a Travis Lee line drive. So pitching for the first time since May 26, and he fires that one on the inside corner.
85 pitches in the simulated game that he threw, impressing manager Terry Francona to give him the opportunity to start tonight. The difference between that game and this one is obviously a lot of adrenaline.
Here's 3-1. Little number foul. And a look back at the injury that cost him so much time. The line drive by Travis Lee.
Not a whole lot that David Wells could have done here. I mean, that ball is absolutely rigged. He tried to get out of the way. He couldn't get off of it in time. It catches the knee that had been a problem throughout the whole year, and really, throughout the last several years for David Wells. There he's getting helped off the field.
You see, though, he has a way of bouncing back. He has started a lot of games, 29 plus over that time span. This is his 20th season in the majors. Here's a routine ground ball at Cora. Alex Gonzalez relaxing tonight. 2 up and 2 down. Travis Hafner, the DH, coming up next. And Hafner posting terrific numbers despite the fact that his team has really underperformed in a big way. 296, 29 homers, 85 runs batted in. Last year he finished 5th in the American League MVP balloting. Looking like he wants to land a lot higher here in 2006.
And you mentioned his average against left-handed pitchers even better than right. That's so impressive to me, OB, when you think about the left-handed pitching in the American League this year.
The left-hander Wells delivers on the inside corner, a strike.
You got the 2 kids from Minnesota, Liriano and Santana. You got Sabathia for these Cleveland Indians, and there are the numbers. Take a look at that. Past, his average was 245 against left-handers. This year, over 300 with a lot of RBIs.
And very meaningful hits, as you point out, to deliver runs for the Indians, who score plenty. Ground ball pulled to the right side. Loretta up and over in plenty of time. And an excellent start for the left-hander, David Boomer Wells. He gets the Indians 1-2-3. Boston coming up at Fenway. Big Papi waiting just a couple of hitters away from the leadoff man, Kevin Youkilis, and the Red Sox coming up. The Yankees are off tonight, so Boston looking to expand on the lead. Here's the starting lineup. Kevin Youkilis followed by Mark Loretta. And then the big guy, David Ortiz, 12 home runs in the month of July.
And you could tell by the look there that he cannot wait to get to home plate and take some swings off of Paul Byrd. Look at that, leading the American League, home runs and RBIs already. We're not even into August yet, so be it we're only a day away. 101 RBIs for Big Pop.
Battling the right-hander Paul Byrd, 7-6, and hit hard in his last outing, giving up 7 runs in less than 4 innings.
Yeah, and Paul Byrd was the guy they brought in when they could not re-sign Kevin Millwood. Millwood, of course, led the American League in earned run average last year. Right now, Paul Byrd just right at the 500 mark.
35-year-old right-hander's first pitch zipped in for a strike on Youkilis, a 296 hitter with 11 home runs. He's driven in 47. Not having a banner month of July, so he's not going to be sad to see it end after midnight tonight. 245 for the month. And up high by Byrd, on deck Loretta.
And he's a guy, too, that there have been some rumors about. There are a lot of teams that needed a third baseman. And that's, of course, his natural position. San Diego Padres. And now he can put all of that behind him. I look for him to have a good night tonight.
The 1-1 rattle foul. And then defensively, here's a look at the Cleveland Indians. Marte, the youngster, starting at third base. Luna at second. A new acquisition for Cleveland. Grady Sizemore in center field can flat go and get it.
And he can impact the game in so many ways, whether it be his speed, whether it be his power, or whether it be just watching that strikeout.
Let's go back to Saturday in a spectacular Jim Edmonds kind of a catch for Grady.
And think about this. You see Ichiro hit that ball, all right? You got to be playing shallow for Ichiro. Look at where he lands. He lands on the warning track in dead center field. And you know what's so impressive to me, Obi, about that play? They're 24 and a half games out, and yet he's playing like they've got a half-game lead.
With the glove and with the bat. Certainly not the root of the problems for the Indians in center field. Here's Loretta hitting .304, 3 homers, 39 runs batted in. Sunday, a wild day of rumor here at Fenway. The wildest probably the one that had Mark Loretta being traded to Tampa Bay He was not in the starting lineup for last night's game of the Angels, but one rumor had him getting into street clothes, getting out of his uniform, and leaving Fenway Park, even though he was actually in full uniform for the start of the game.
Well, we were told out in the parking lot by an attendant there in the players' parking lot that his wife had left upset because they were traded.
Well, she's smiling a little more now. Base hit to left for her husband, Mark Loretta. A one-out single. Not to say there weren't rumors involving Mark Loretta in a possible trade. It just never happened. The most popular guy in Boston remains the man striding to home plate. It's going to be a long, long time before you hear David Ortiz's name connected to any trade possibilities with these kind of numbers. 285, 35 homers. As Sutton mentioned, already 101 runs batted in.
What was it about him that the Minnesota Twins didn't like? The big smile? Well, I'll tell you what, he was not near the player there that he is here. He's become Superman in Boston.
Loretta aboard at first base, and Bird delivers in for strike. So here's the shift that Big Papi says, and it's not as dramatic the way the Indians play it, but the shift where everyone overplays to the right, he says it has cost him about 40 points in his batting average this season.
He said the biggest problem is that he notices it. Rather than focusing on the pitcher and the location of the pitch, he's looking at the infield defense.
Check swing, foul on a play. Of course, the game-winning RBI that he had over the weekend on Saturday, he took the other way, so it didn't bother him then. In the hole here, 0-2. Over the last 2 seasons, he has hit 300. Fairly well under right now, 285. But one big run batted in after another for Big Papi. Manny Ramirez right behind him, waiting on deck. Loretta at first. You realize it has been 56 years since a Red Sox player reached 100 RBIs before the end of July.
When you just think about all of the great Red Sox offensive players, the Jim Rices and the Freddie Lynns. And it's been that long since anyone has done what Big Papi is doing right now.
Trying to add on right here with those 35 home runs, tied for the major league lead. Trying to hold up about midway through and cut right through it. So down he goes. Ortiz strikes out. Second K in the book in the first inning for Paul Bird. We check out K-Zone for the first time tonight. It's brought to you by Nationwide.
Well, this is a rare time where David Ortiz will swing at a pitch that I thought was clearly out of the strike zone, just up above the K zone there. Not a whole lot of velocity on it, but with the movement, I think David Ortiz got fooled, thinking it was going to be a curveball come down to the zone. It stayed right up above it. He couldn't get there.
So Bird to face Manny Ramirez now, and Manny is hot as he ever is in the midst of a 15-game hitting streak. Overall hitting .314, and he takes one outside.
And not hot off of Paul Bird. 0 for 9. And you can see how difficult Paul Bird's delivery would be on a right-handed hitter. In fact, this year, right-handers just hitting .231. Left-handed hitters hitting over .350.
That one on the corner. Good spot for Bird. His fastball usually in that 86 to 89 range. There's a curve, a slider, and a changeup.
Just a pitcher. I mean, just a pitcher. He's a competitor. He throws a lot of strikes. You've got to enjoy playing defense behind him.
Relies on a lot of deception. And absolutely has to keep that fastball down. Swing a high fly ball left field. This one carrying deep. Way back. Way gone. A home run for Manny Ramirez. A 2-run shot. He got all of it. And the Red Sox lead it 2-0. Oh, and by the way, the hitting streak goes to 16 in a row.
Yeah, no more 0 for 9. I'll tell you what else goes up. That would be the home run total to 29 and the RBI total to 84. You look at the look Manny gave Paul Bird after he hit this, saying, you know what? This time it was my turn.
Boy, I should say so. 16-game hitting streak, best on the Red Sox this season. Bird had no doubts. Looking to see if it would land. Forget about where it would land. Mike Lowell stepping in.
Well, that's what the dynamic duo is all about. Right when you get past Robin, that being David Ortiz with the strikeout, Batman strikes and gets you.
A wave and a miss by Mike Lowell. One more look at that pitch.
Well, look at the catcher. I mean, that's the key. The catcher was sitting on the outside corner. His glove goes back to the heart of the plate, and the baseball goes into the street.
Up and in on Mike Lowell. 13 home runs for the third baseman. When the Red Sox were playing on the West Coast at Seattle and Oakland last week, Terry Francona assured Lowell he would not be traded. But the newspapers were still swirling this morning about a possible 3-team deal that would send him maybe to San Diego.
Dave, you got to look at that as a compliment, though. I mean, that means that other teams are interested in you. You have some value. Obviously, no one would want to leave Fenway and the wonderful things that are going on here in this ballpark, knowing that the ownership here will always give you an opportunity to contend.
1-2 pitch down low. Low delighted to be staying. It's been a great park for him. It's been a great stop for him. He'd like to be here a long, long time, I'm sure. 37 doubles for Mike. So Fenway has treated him well. And he hit. Tops in the majors in that category. Fly to left field, backing up Michaels. And just underneath the green monster there for the catch. But Manny Ramirez hit his up and over the famous green wall there in left field for his 29th home run of the season. That with Loretta aboard. And the Red Sox blast off against Bird and lead it 2-0. In Boston, there's a lot of competition for that job. The #1 Manny fan, and he's making some more with his big home run just moments ago to make it 2-0 Red Sox.
Manny just being Manny.
And when Manny's just being Manny, that means he's hitting shots like that. And giving David Wells some early support in his first start back since May. A 2-0 Red Sox lead, and he'll square off against Victor Martinez. Hitting .308 with 11 homers, 60 runs batted in. And so ever since he came up from the minor leagues, he's always been able to hit. Catching has been his problem the last couple of seasons. Made 6 errors behind the plate. He's thrown out only 11% of base stealers. And you know, you're throwing like that. Looked like he came up a little bit lame there after that swing.
He might be a little bit tired from all of the early work he put into working to improve those throws to second base today. He was out here at 2:30 this afternoon. Louis Isaac, the bullpen coach, Joel Skinner, the bench coach, both former catchers at the big league level, out here working with him on his footwork. You know, it's one thing. Everybody's kind of got their own speed and their own pace. But when a guy takes off to steal a base, you've got to have a game speed, and he has not had that with his footwork.
The 1-1 breaking ball is inside, so he's found himself at first base for the 11th time this season. That might happen a lot more. You want to keep his bat in that lineup because he can hit.
And he wants to catch. And you know what? Watching the improvement that he had today, if he can take it what he did practicing to the game, he'll be fine. They had him at 1.83 down to second.
In for a called strike. He's thrown out only 8 out of 75 trying to steal. Let's look at Kazon.
Well, when he's right, he can drop an off-speed pitch into the strike zone at will. People have talked about him waking up on New Year's Day and being able to do that. I think he could do it Christmas Day, but he goes pretty hard New Year's Eve.
The 2-2 from the left-hander. Fouled off the foot of Martinez.
I've always loved Boomer, man. I was playing golf with him this winter, and you know, the body's that of a 60-year-old. The knees are absolutely shot, but the arm has been amazing. He missed a putt, and he picked up the golf ball with his putter, grabbed it in his left arm, and I'll guarantee you he threw it 90 miles an hour and hit his own golf cart. I mean, we're dead of the winter. He hadn't thrown a ball in 2 months, and that arm still could respond when he needed it to do, as he does tonight.
All etiquette aside, he can still bring it. Here comes the 2-2. Fouled away. Well, the Red Sox aren't sure what to expect from him. He's now 43. You know, much is made of his size, as you say. When healthy, he can still be a consistent winner. He went 15-7 for Terry Francona last year.
Well, and Aaron made a great point about, that brace just wasn't working for him. And they came up with a way to wrap that knee where he feels the support he needs to use his legs to pitch with.
Francona wants to see about 8 to 10 healthy starts from Wells and thinks that could make the difference down the stretch. Good off-speed pitch there. Got him to commit for strike 3. Martinez could not hold up. First strikeout for Wells since May. Time now for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Let's go to Bill Pito. Bill.
All right, Dave, the biggest name to move on trade deadline day. Greg Maddux going for the cut for the Dodgers for Cesar Izturis. Maddux started the year 5-0, but has gone only 4-11 since. Alfonso Soriano was not traded today. The Phillies, Chase Utley, 1 for 3 in the Marlins, 15-2 rout of the Phillies today. He's now got a 32-game hitting streak. Content updates on ESPN News and mobile ESPN. Next SportsCenter at 11 p.m. Eastern.
I think that's a great move by General Manager Ned Colletti of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He knew Greg Maddux when he got to the big leagues as a kid when he was in the front office with the Chicago Cubs. Greg Maddux getting over there with an opportunity to be in contention, getting closer to home. I look for him to pitch well the last 2 months.
And Dodgers starting to play a little bit better as Casey Blake looks at a strike. They've won 3 in a row after that free fall. They certainly needed to do something, and with Garciaparra now on the disabled list, had to make a move, but getting a guy who's, you got to believe, going to be very, very effective in that ballpark, and Greg Maddux.
They picked up Wilson Betterman. They're still solid down there in the bullpen, and what a great year it has been for Nomar, even with him being on the disabled list right now. Look at that. I mean, that's 5 games. That is 5 games. That is 2 good weeks to get to the top of that division.
Padres leading the pack, but just 5 games over 500, so it's winnable for everybody you see on that screen. Blake hitting .297 with 12 home runs. Checked his swing, the pitch outside, just off the corner. Well, the Red Sox, when you talk about their pitching and how much they do need David Wells to give them those 8 to 10 healthy starts, you may not see Matt Clement again. They just transferred him to the 60-day disabled list. A high fly ball left field. This one way back. Manny turning around. Ramirez just watches it sail. That was up around the Coke bottles and gone for Casey Blake. And the Indians get one of those back with a long home run from their right fielder.
What a great year he has had. A versatile type guy. As the opening day right fielder. He'll play first base from time to time and anywhere in the lineup. But the key has been the fact that Casey Blake has hit this year. There's a K-zone fastball middle in, almost like that's what he was looking for. 13 home runs on the year and right around 300 for an average.
Got an 88-mile-an-hour fastball and smoked it. And that'll bring up Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, so number 13 for Blake. And the Indians, who's certainly scoring bunches just like the Red Sox, grabbed their first run against Wells. The 0-1 pitch waved at and missed right by everybody. Take a look at where this one landed. Now, we showed you Manny Ramirez home run earlier.
Well, Manny's went a lot further than this. I do know that. I did hit off the Coke bottle. Just below the Green Monster seats. Didn't go as far, but it counts every bit as much.
The 0-2 to Peralta is down and in around the shoe tops.
Getting to the ballpark around 2:30 today. Peralta was walking in with the guy in the on-deck circle. Hector Luna, just recently acquired from the St. Louis Cardinals. The two of them played together as kids in the Cleveland Indian system years ago in the Dominican Republic Summer League.
Down low again, 2-2.
Luna had his St. Louis Cardinal bag, but he didn't have any bats in it. As they got to the clubhouse, Peralta was kind enough to open up his bag. They got into a couple other guys' locker to try to find something that he could use tonight.
Luna acquired yesterday from St. Louis. Trade made over the weekend for Ronnie Belliard. Here comes the 2-2. Just got a piece of it and fouled off the catcher Veritek. Bases empty. A run in, 1 out. Boston on top 2-1. Getting the return of the left-hander David Wells tonight.
Boy, they need him. They need something to go along with Curt Schilling and Josh Beckett. The other starting pitchers' numbers have not been good.
3-2. Peralta among the most disappointing Indians this season at 258, 13 errors. He's supposed to be an emerging young star. It just hasn't happened this year. Payoff pitch inside. He walked him. So a rare ball 4 from David Wells. Talking about the Red Sox and their DL woes, especially among the pitching staff. Let's go for Aaron Andrews for more on that.
Well, Obi, to add more, what you were talking about, Matt Clement transferred from the 15-day DL to the 60. Talked to him today, said he's very discouraged. First time he's ever been on DL before. Keith Folk, he was supposed to throw an inning yesterday in Pawtucket. He was scratched from that for lower back tightness. It has nothing to do with that elbow strain that originally put him on that. And finally, Tim Wakefield, supposed to take 3 to 4 weeks to get him off that DL. He's 2 weeks right now. He told me today he's doing exercises in the pool for that rib injury he suffered, guys.
Yeah, I too got to talk to Matt Clement, and I asked him how he felt, and you could look in his eyes that things were not right in that shoulder, and in all probability he will not be back this year. So that makes it even that much more important that David Wells be able to finish the season healthy.
Hector Luna, the hitter here. Luna, as Sutton mentioned, just picked up in the deal from St. Louis. This is his American League debut as he takes outside. Played 5 seasons in the Cleveland system before being taken in the 2003 Rule 5 draft.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I mean, you would have thought Belliard had a little bit more value than for a guy that had been in their organization that they let go. I know they're trying to get younger. They're trying to get more athletic.
Swing fly ball center field. Coco Crisp racing back on the track toward the wall, and that's high up off the green wall in center. Peralta heading into third. He applies the brakes right there. Luna into second with a double, and just missed a home run in his American League debut to one of the deepest parts of Fenway Park.
David Wells jogged to the mound as he got the ovation in the first inning. Well, he walked out here in the second. It just makes you wonder as you look at David Wells missing his location. That ball was up and out over the plate. It continued off the center field wall. Very fortunate there that Peralta was not able to score. I mean, that thing completely turned Coco Crisp around in center field. And I thought he might have been able to score on that ball, but he was held up.
So it'll be second and third with 1 down, and the Indians threatening again here. The walk and the double after the home run by Casey Blake. That sends up Kelly Shopping to catcher at 241 with a couple of home runs. Andy Marte, the third baseman, the number 9 hitter, will follow him. Wells in trouble early, and it's inside for ball 1. Well, he got them 1-2-3 to start the night, so a promising beginning for the 6'3" left-hander out of Torrance, California. And it started well here in the second inning when he struck out Victor Martinez, a 300 hitter. The 1-0 right through there for a strike. That one floating in at 71 miles an hour.
Seems like that right now is the only thing, Dave, that he can get down. Something off speed.
The Wells situation, the Red Sox are hopeful that it could make the difference in the American League East, even with the Yankees acquisition of Bobby Abreu and Corey Lytle. The pitch missed in tight under the hands.
I just think about the difference that a day makes. On Saturday, the Yankees lose 19-6 to Tampa Bay. 24 hours later, they win. They take the lead for the wild card, and then general manager Brian Cashman makes the trade for Bobby Abreu and Corey Lytle. All of a sudden, they're on fire. They feel good about themselves.
2-1, fouled away off to the left by Shopping. Look at Bobby Abreu's numbers with the Phillies. I mean, certainly the power numbers are down for Bobby, but there's so many things that he can do defensively, stealing bases, taking ball four.
But I tell you who I really look for to take off now for the Yankees is Alex Rodriguez. This is going to take a lot of heat off of him. He's not going to have to answer any question the rest of this week because the press is going to want to talk to Abreu.
Yankees are off tonight. The 2-2 pitch. Swing, line shot, headed for the alley in left center. Nobody there. On the grass and up against the wall. Peralta is in. Luna charging around third. He's in to score. That's a 2-run double for Shopping. And they are rattling Wells. The Cleveland Indians starting to beat him up here in the second inning. The Indians scored 3 times here in the second.
He got ahead of him with a couple of off-speed pitches, but then finally Kelly Shoppach realized, you know what, he's not going to throw a fastball for a strike. So I'll sit on a breaking ball, so be it down in the K zone. When you're looking for that pitch, you can elevate it. He got it into the gap, and right now David Wells has got to figure out how to get the fastball down in the zone so that people start to respect it and don't just lay on that curveball.
You know, the Indians have a lot of problems, but firepower at the bat is not one of them. They are 13 games under 500, but they have outscored their opponents by 31 runs this season. So Eric Wedge has a lineup that can go after you.
Now, they're actually better average-wise this year than they were a year ago, but the problem, last year Cleveland had the best ERA in the American League. Coming into play tonight, they are 11th overall, and the numbers for them look a lot like the numbers so far for David Wells.
So 40 pitches already. Shoppach, formerly with the Red Sox, cashing in with a 2-run double. He's at second. Marte cranks that one foul. As we go to Aaron Andrews, and what is the game plan, Aaron, if Wells can't continue deep into this game?
Well, Terry Francona said, OB, that if David Wells struggles early, they will not hesitate putting Kyle Snyder, who is tomorrow's starter, in for Wells. Snyder just ran to the bullpen right past us. What they will have to do, the Red Sox will have to do, is call up Jason Johnson from AAA to potentially start tomorrow for the Red Sox against the Indians, guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Of course, the Red Sox not making a trade, although many here in Boston have been critical of management for not pulling the trigger. You got the idea that, you know, the big hope was with Wells and coming back healthy enough to make a lot of good starts down the stretch, that in effect would be a deal unto itself. But not going very well here tonight in the second inning, is it? High chop foul off third by Marte.
Well, there was a lot of talk and a lot of things going on with general manager Theo Epstein, particularly the last couple of hours. Talk of Roger Clemens possibly coming back to Boston. All of a sudden ownership there, and Houston didn't want to let that happen. What happened with Nolan Ryan when he got away and finished his career elsewhere. There was talk of Andrew Jones coming here and then maybe going to Houston for Roy Oath. Lots of options, but nothing happened.
Swing and a high pop foul off the end of the bat, pulled off to the left. Theo Epstein on why the Red Sox elected not to make a move at this time. So we came close on a lot of things, lots of opportunities. We have a long-term plan. As much as we desperately wanted to do something to help our big league team, it would have been short-sighted to sacrifice that long-term plan. Just wasn't worth it.
And OB, he told us after they won the World Series in 04, the one thing he was going to do was to rebuild and strengthen the farm system. He has done that. He's done that as well as any general manager in all of baseball. You look at Papelbon now. You know how much Terry Francona appreciates that. You look at Hanson. You just look at all of the great arms that have filled this organization and the club owned by John Henry. You can't blame Theo Epstein for not wanting to get rid of 2 of those pitchers for somebody that only might be here for 2 months.
Only one out. The 2-2 hit sharply. Nice stab by Lowell at third. Oh, so clean and right on the money with the throw. Shoppach holding it second, 2 down.
That's what great defense will do for you. This is a Gold Glove type play here. It was a double down the line with most other third basemen down there. Watch this ball. This ball's hit as hard as it can be hit. It's a short off the lip between the grass and the dirt. If it gets by him, another run would have scored, and I will guarantee you somebody would have been up in the Boston bullpen. Instead, now you got 2 outs. You got a left-hander up at home plate, and you hope that David Wells can get out of it if you're Boston.
Well, Wells getting help defensively. The Red Sox have been the best in the American League. It's been a long time since you could say that. And here's Sizemore. He takes a ball low. Grady Sizemore 0 for 1, lined out hard to the right fielder Willie Mopena in the first inning. But 2 out here with a man at second. The fine play by Lowell ends a string of 4 consecutive Indians reaching base on this beautiful July night. Very last July night of 2006 here at Fenway Park. The 35th pitch of the inning here is a breaking ball in for strike.
And I think more than half of them have been off-speed pitches for David Wells, which just makes you wonder about the foundation, about his knee. If it's not giving him problems and keeping him, I mean, you have to use your legs more to throw a fastball and get the velocity up there. He's throwing an awful lot of slow curveballs.
Awful lot of pitches for this early in the game, especially for a guy as economical as Wells usually is when he's completely healthy. He knocks this one down on a comebacker. Sizemore good speed, but Wells gets him by a step. Not a good inning for the big left-hander, however, as he gives up 3 runs, and the Cleveland Indians have taken their first lead of the game. Casey Blake got them started with a long home run off the Coke bottles in left over the Green Monster. The Indians can certainly score, and they get 3 in the second inning off Wells. It's Monday Night Baseball presented by Holiday Inn. And tonight, as the sun sets in Boston, we come to you live from Fenway Park. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and Aaron Andrews with you. It is now 3-2 Cleveland as the Indians get 3 real fast against Boomer Wells. Great night for pizza and a hang out and watch deep in the outfield at one of the great sporting venues in the world. Jason Varitek, the captain, hitting .241, 11 homers, 50 runs batted in. What has been a down season for him. He's battled assorted nagging leg injuries.
You know, but he won't talk about it anymore.
No, he doesn't.
I'm fine. I feel good. Gonna have a good night tonight. You can just count on that quote every time from the captain.
Fastball in there for a strike. And the Red Sox not getting quite the numbers they wanted out of Varitek for a lot of different reasons, most of them health reasons. But there they are, a half game in first place. Yankees off tonight, so a chance to bump that lead up to at least a game tonight.
And they know they're always going to get 100% effort out of Jason Varitek. And he's a guy that said many years ago, you know, I'm not always going to hit, but I can always hustle. And watching him, looking at him before the game, going over all the charts, trying to do everything he can to help David Wells pitch well tonight.
Switch hitter fouls that one away on the ground to the right side. Last year he hit .281 with 22 homers and 70 runs batted in. He'll make a run at that RBI total. Probably not the home run total.
You know, and Ron Jackson, their outstanding hitting coach for the Red Sox, talks about how Varitek's the toughest guy that he has on the team to work with. The reason? You can't work with him. You take him out there for extra work, and you're going to fatigue your catcher.
Up the middle, skips off the mound. Peralta can't get it. It's a base hit for Varitek. So the Red Sox have their leadoff man on here in the second inning. Time now for a SportsCenter in-game update. We join Bill Pito and Steve Phillips.
All right, Dave, this Subway Studio update from Baltimore. Gil Mesh against the O's, giving up a couple of homers in the first inning.
Well, Mesh rumored to be on the trade market as well, but he's staying put. When you throw fastballs up in the zone to good hitters, that's what happens to it.
Brian Roberts and then Melvin Mora. 2-0 O's right now in the bottom of the third.
2 home runs here in the bottom.
Meanwhile, back at Fenway Park, Cleveland on top of Boston 3-2, and the Red Sox have Varitek aboard with a single right back through the box. And Coco Crisp has been dropped to number 7 in the order, hitting .265. Ground ball, diving effort by Luna off the glove, but that's it. It rolls into right, and everyone's going to be safe. Varitek into second, and Crisp on with a single.
2 basically routine ground balls, but Peralta not able to go to his left and get to the one up to the middle. And here Luna, the same kind of thing. I mean, he's there, the glove is on the baseball, but he cannot secure it. Now an opportunity as you get to the number 9 spot, even though it's an American League game, you could play a little National League baseball here with your number 8 hitter, maybe try to sacrifice a bunt, get 2 runners in scoring position.
Willie Mopena hitting .320 with 4 homers and 21 runs batted in. He, like Gabe Kapler, the other candidate to fill the slot vacated by Trot Nixon, who is now injured, bicep injury that has put him on the DL after a swing last night. Pena wouldn't even talk about that possibility until he found out how Trot Nixon was. Well, now he knows, and he knows that Willie Mopena is going to get a chance, get a lot more at-bats here the next several weeks. Nixon suffering a grade 2 sprain of his bicep muscle.
You know, he's been suffering with that problem for over a month now, and it just finally gave out on him. You could tell that he was not healthy because the power numbers were not there for Trot.
Yeah, he said he originally heard it about 6 weeks ago, but had been kind of playing through that. Willie Mopena will provide more in the area of pure power. Tremendously strong, the ability to hit it 500 feet.
He hit one off the Green Monster last night, and the bat literally shattered in half. and it hit halfway up on the monster in left field. That's some kind of bat speed, some kind of strong.
Yeah, with a defective piece of wood. Varitek and Crisp aboard. And that's a little bit high. Alex Cora, the number 9 hitter, on deck.
You're going to see the pitchers stare at home plate umpire C.B. Buckner a lot tonight. That zone is just as tight as it can be.
Bird 7-6 coming in with an ERA on a high side at 4.71. Swing, line shot into right center. A sizzling liner. That's going to continue to roll into that angle. That'll get 2 runs home. Varitek is in. Crisp is in. Here comes William Opeña standing up at third. And the Red Sox retake the lead 4-3. A wicked line drive set into that alley.
Watching the legs of Coco Crisp and William Opeña has got to make the legs of David Wells feel better now that he has gotten the lead back. You got 2 strikes on him. You thought you struck him out on the last pitch, and what do? You overthrow a cut fastball. You leave it middle in. Give credit to William Opeña staying inside that baseball, and then that's just natural ability there. That's just a lot of strength. Nothing Sizemore could do there. Going to go as a triple and 2 RBIs for the everyday player now, William Opeña.
His first of the season, 3 base hit. Boston up 4-3. It's his first triple since 2004 in April of 04. And here's Cora. Swings, loops it into left. Coming on Michaels. He makes a fine play. William Opeña will stay at third. So Cora failing to dump that one into left. That's the first out of the inning after 3 consecutive hits. So neither pitcher, neither starter tonight is fooling anybody yet.
They have got a lot of production so far this year out of the Alex Coras, Gonzalez, who normally will play shortstop, Loretta, those middle infielders, all of them hitting right around 285, 290 or above.
And Bird hasn't walked anyone, but he has given up 5 hits and 4 earned already. In an inning and a third. Back to the top of the order in Youkilis. He takes a strike. He whiffed in the first inning. As mentioned, the Yankees are idle. So at worst, the Red Sox would be in a first-place tie with New York on August 1st. When the Yankees trot Bobby Abreu out to right field against Toronto tomorrow at Yankee Stadium. Line shot caught by Luna, who is drawn in, and it paid off there. William Opeña staying at third again, and they're 2 down. Boston right now a half game in front in the East after the Yankees got 2 home run bombs from former Red Sox star Johnny Damon beating Tampa Bay Sunday.
Well, to me, the Toronto Blue Jays are just in the wrong division. They've lost a couple of games as of late that have gotten away late in the ball game. B.J. Ryan, an all-star, having a great year, but proving that he too is human.
Here's Loretta, 1 for 1 tonight with a base hit. So it's shaping up to be a classic August-September showdown between the ancient rivals in the East, the Sox and the Yankees. They will meet again, by the way, on August the 18th. It'll be the 18th through the 21st here at Fenway Park, and then again in mid-September. Lashed at, fouled away by Loretta.
You know, Dave, for a lot of young pitchers out there, taking a look at what Paul Bird has done here. After the flyout from Cora, which he was in the stretch to deliver the pitch with, he's gone to the windup. He's more deceptive with that. He was able to strike out Youkilis the first time. And you've got to be comfortable with that man at third. They're going to try to jockey like they may take off. You've got to keep from balking, but obviously you throw better with more velocity out of your windup.
1-1 fouled away. Ortiz would be next. And Paul Bird back in 2002 was a 17-game winner for Kansas City. And he was expected to fill those shoes left by Kevin Millwood when Millwood departed for Texas, but they have proven to be a bit too big for Bird. Popped up on the right side of the infield. Here comes Martinez, and he puts it away. Side retired, but a good inning for Boston. 3 hits, including a triple to score 2 off the bat of the new right fielder, William Opeña. The Red Sox.
Major League Baseball.
Fenway long synonymous with offense. We've had plenty already. A total of 7 runs and 8 hits, including a couple of big home runs. Manny Ramirez and Casey Blake both touching them all, so it might be one of those nights. There have been many of them since 1912 when Fenway Park was erected. Where it's one crooked number after another up on that scoreboard inning after inning. Jason Michaels leading off the third against David Wells. We'll see how he bounces back from a rough frame.
You know, the Red Sox have led the majors in runs scored the last 3 years. I think it's more than a coincidence that David Ortiz has been with Boston the last 3 years.
His 0-2 pitch moves the hitter back a bit. Travis Hafner on deck, and then Victor Martinez in the third inning for Cleveland. So you wanted to see how Boomer went out to the mound, and I know you keep track of these things because it can often dictate what kind of an inning a pitcher is going to have. A 1-2 ripped and a base hit out of the range of Mike Lowell. Manny Ramirez down to get it. We'll touch more on that in just a moment, but another hit for Cleveland. Michaels on board to lead off the third inning. As we check out Game Track and how we got to this point, Manny Ramirez, an absolute bomb. That one cleared the Green Monster and out of Fenway Park. But a bounce-back inning for Shoppach. He had a 2-run double. There was also a big home run in the inning. Casey Blake with 1 out. Smacked one off the Coke bottle. But back came Willie Mopena and the Red Sox in a home half of the second inning as he tripled in 2. And Boston retook the lead 4-3. So already 7 runs have been scored in this one. And the Indians at it again with a leadoff single. The dangerous Travis Hafner, the designated hitter, climbs in. He's 0 for 1, having grounded out to second. Did you see some signs as far as Wells going out to the mound that he might be rattled again?
Well, I see some problems with his leg, honestly, with that knee, because he was even slower going to the mound for this inning than he was the last inning. And as we mentioned, when he took the mound in the first inning, he actually jogged out to the pitcher's hill. That thing's got to be tightening up on him, and you know what? He's just going to have to work from the neck up and forget about that pain and try to make some good pitches.
High fly ball left field, backing up Ramirez, turning around now. Manny Ramirez looking up. It is high off the Green Monster. Michaels racing to third. He runs right through the stop sign, and here comes the relay. The tag is late. He scores. Into second with an RBI double. Travis Hafner, give him 86 runs batted in. This one is tied up at 4.
A little bit of confusion there. You're exactly right. That stop sign was up, but Michaels had made up his mind that he was going to keep coming. The throw after the ball hit off the wall, look at that, right down the middle, 88 miles an hour, just not enough velocity to not have good location on it. And then he comes up with the ball, he sees it, he makes up his mind he's going to go right to second base. Had he hit the cutoff man there, Cora, getting the ball to him quicker, you never know. He might have had a play for Michaels at home, but when the throw went to second, Michaels was easily able to score. Look at it. There's a stop sign. I mean, you can see that. He tried to stop, but then he said, you know what? I'm in no man's land. I've got to go one way or the other. I'm just going to keep going.
All tied 4-4. Nobody out third inning. The Red Sox have to get activity in that bullpen again. Here's Martinez. He is 0 for 1. Smacks that one to right field. Willie Mopena coming in on that sinking line drive. Tagging up Hafner. He's trying for third, and he will get there sliding in. And even though it's an out, another well-struck shot off of David Wells by a Cleveland hitter gets Hafner down to third.
Just a great piece of hitting. There's a productive out. And even by doing that, he didn't give himself up. He actually tried to trade places with Hafner out there. Good strong throw on the part of Willie Mopena, but the ball was just hit too deep.
Wells is not deceiving anybody. Willie Mopena able to haul in that line shot, but Snyder is up. The right-hander, as Aaron Andrews had mentioned.
There's your starter for tomorrow night. No matter what happens from here on out, he will not pitch tomorrow night.
Inside for a ball on Casey Blake. Hafner with an RBI double in the inning. Again, continues to hit left-handed pitching like very few left-handed hitters can.
You see David Wells there frustrated again with home plate umpire C.B. Buckner. I think he's more frustrated with himself right now, though, because to me, that ball clearly looked to be inside off the plate.
Buckner getting glances from both sides, however. That's in for strike. 1-1. Blake with a towering home run, his first time up in the second inning, cracking his 13th home run. The Indians already with 3 extra base hits. The Angels had 8 of them last night in routing Curt Schilling 10-4. That one smoked into left over the head of Manny Ramirez, but backing up to make the catch. He's got it. Will concede the run as Travis Hafner comes on in after tagging up from third, and Cleveland is back on top 5-4.
It's just it's not going to work. I mean, he did everything he could to get back out there on the mound. You know that the energy he got from the crowd, from the ovation he got walking to the bullpen helped. But you can see right now, I mean, he's a man that's physically not able to pitch at this level.
Well, the bases are empty, but up to 59 pitches as well, in just 2 2/3. And here's Peralta, drew a walk and scored his first time around. So it brings up the question, I mean, at his age and given all that he has accomplished, 227 wins, David Wells may have earned the right not to go to AAA or to a minor league park and toss a couple of rehab outings. He did not do that. Red Sox decided not to demand that he do that, but maybe looking at it now, should that have been the case?
I think it would have helped the Red Sox to evaluate David Wells in the fact that, you know what, he physically just does not have his legs right now. You can't pitch with just your arm.
Talked about the crowd firing up Boomer Wells when he came out earlier.
Yeah, there's a strut to that stride right there. He feels it. He loves the energy. And when he took the hill in the first inning, he kind of jogged out. But it's just gotten progressively slower since, as has his velocity.
Breaking ball inside, now 3-1 on Peralta.
And this very well may be the last pitch. Maybe in the great career of Boomer Wells.
Snyder appears ready. Wells has said that regardless of what happens, this will be his final season. He delivers a strike. He said that just the other day, that he will hang it up after his 20th season in the majors, regardless of how it finishes.
227 career wins. Great postseason pitcher. 10-3 is his playoff record. A champion.
The 3-2 fouled off to the right out of play by Peralta.
And you know, Boston gave him every opportunity to succeed. I mean, where he's at right now, if he were to pitch every 5th day for Terry Francona, it would have been Cleveland, Tampa Bay, and Kansas City. His combined career record against those 3 teams, 46-8.
He could not have drawn it up any better. Bases empty, 2 down, the 3-2. Cut on and missed. He strikes out Peralta. We'll see if that's the last pitch he throws tonight. But he's behind now, 5-4. Coming up after this short 1-minute break, baseball tonight, Steve Phillips breaking down the American League trade deadline. Beautiful night at Fenway. Cleveland back in front of the Boston Red Sox 5-4, this being July 31st. Delighted to bring in Steve Phillips, former general manager, as we talk about the trades both in the American and National League. And Steve, let's start with the American League and a couple of things that went on today that may have shocked you or went right exactly as you planned on the AL side.
Well, when we take a look at all of the trade deadline, you look at the American League, obviously Bobby Abreu going to the New York Yankees was a big deal, getting done yesterday. And you add Corey Lytle into the mix there. What an offensive weapon he adds to already a very potent lineup in New York, especially when the Yankees get healthy. The Detroit Tigers been looking for a left-handed bat. They add Sean Casey into the mix. Not only his bat, but his personality, a great addition to that first-place club. And Carlos Lee to the Texas Rangers, they've had depth to the lineup. Now they have that aircraft carrier in the middle. Those were some of the big acquisitions. But in the rest of the American League, a lot of teams were in on Alfonso Soriano. He doesn't get moved. You know, you had the Twins, Angels, some other American League clubs and National League clubs looking at Soriano, but the Nationals opt to keep him and try to sign him and keep him in the Nationals uniform for the future. That was really the shocker of the day, guys.
Now we feel the same way. I think everybody at Fenway exactly the same as Ortiz. Tears into this one. Deep drive right field and kiss it goodbye. Number 36 for Big Papi. Tied at 5 at Fenway. His 13th home run in the month of July. and 102 runs batted in for the man who may be the American League MVP when all is said and done.
You know what? He took up really, really good run at it and just came up a little bit short last year for that award. He's having a better year this year. All of a sudden, you give up 2 in the top of the third. You're down by a run. One swing of the bat. We're right back to where we started tonight, being tied.
Out of here in a heartbeat, and it's 5-5 in the third inning. Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz have homered in the same game yet again against Paul Byrd here tonight. Manny with a towering home run in the first inning. So we bring Steve Phillips back in, and Big Papi David Ortiz talking about how easy it is to run around the bases with Willie Bo Pena when you hit it like that. But Steve, I think everybody here feels the same way, that there's one guy we all felt would be gone by now. It would be Soriano, as this one is driven high and deep, but not deep enough, as Sizemore is there to make the catch onto the warning track for out number 1.
You know, guys, there were deals to be made. I mean, Jim Bowden, the general manager, would have made a deal within this last week if somebody had just stepped up enough to make the deal. But I think the longer they waited, the more the Nationals ownership and front office got together. And Soriano said he'd like to stay there. And they said, you know what, let's see if we can't make a run at this thing and keep him. It won't be the wrong decision if they sign him. If they don't get it done, then they missed an opportunity to add to their organization.
I'll tell you what, I really kind of thought that Boston was going to be the team. I know they had the arms to get him, but, you know, I don't blame Theo Epstein for not wanting to give up the good young pitching that he's drafted, developed, and gotten either at the big league level or knocking on the door. But, you know, to bring Soriano here to Boston after the Yankees took the Red Sox leadoff hitter in the offseason and Johnny Damon, you throw Soriano's bat in here. I mean,
you think the Sox were one of the teams that were talking anyway with Washington?
I know that they had the ability to make that trade. They had the young pitching that everybody was wanting out there. I truly thought that Andrew Jones would have been a better fit here with his defense and you know, all of the postseason success that Andrew Jones has had. But you know what? There are still players that can fall through the cracks. I mean, Steve Phillips knows that well. It's just a little bit more difficult now to make that deal.
We'll look at Soriano's numbers with Washington, why so many teams coveted him, but no one able to land him. The deal just not there. 32 home runs and 64 runs batted in, and he's done a very good job with that position change to the outfield as well.
He could very well be a 40-40 guy before this year is over. Look at all of those RBIs. You look at the new position, playing in the outfield now, proving that he can do that. You know he can play second base. Well, he can kind of play second.
Lowell is 0 for 1 as he stings that one foul off to the left. He is flying out to left field. Mike Lowell leading the majors with 37 doubles. The Red Sox haven't needed any of those tonight. They have a couple of home runs. They have a 2-run triple from Willie Mo Pena. And Boston has fought back to tie it at 5. Will pop up left center field. Sizemore moving on over to make the catch, and that's out number 2. So the Red Sox seemingly standing pat. Obviously didn't make a major deal as some thought they might suck, but there is still time to make a trade. Now, when you think about, you know, Keith Foulke coming back and the Red Sox already with a pretty good starting rotation, although Wells' situation pretty dubious right now, do they have enough to beat the Yankees in the division?
I think the biggest thing right now you got to look at is the fact that they're still in first place right now. It's going to be tougher. They're going to have to keep that winning percentage well up over 600 if they expect to get into the playoffs. But all of a sudden, I mean, 2 weeks ago, everybody was saying, well, you know, the wild card's not coming out of the American League East. Well, let me tell you something. We don't know that. It very well could still happen. We've seen these two teams get hot the last couple of months of the year, and I mean, the Boston Red Sox still have a lot of ability. They're put together different this year than in the past. They're defensive and pitching oriented.
Well, they did make a trade earlier this season to reacquire this man, Doug Mirabelli. And here in the third inning, he's hitting for Veritek, pinch hitter. The Red Sox captain steps out for the rest of the night.
He heard something as far as his legs are concerned around the bases. He did not look good. He ran hard all the way to home plate, but he really struggled getting from home plate to the Boston Red Sox dugout. Mirabelli struggles to keep from taking a bite out of that baseball.
Up and in tight.
Well, that's got to be a concern. You lose Trot Nixon last night on the DL, and now the captain has to come out.
He smoked it, but foul off to the left. Mirabelli just a 182 hitter. Usually his job is to catch the knuckleball specialist Tim Wakefield, who is on the disabled list. So you wonder if there's concern beginning to creep in among Red Sox Nation with all of these injuries. That one is outside for ball. And with Wells' performance here tonight, should that be a look of extreme concern on the face of Terry Francona?
Well, there's something extremely wrong for Jason Varitek to come out of the game. You and I both know that.
2-2 is up high. We talked about the various injuries that he has been battling, leg injuries for the most part, really all season long. It's a major reason his numbers are down.
Well, and with a catcher's position, OB, I mean, they're always going to be banged up. They're going to have foul tips off their hands, off their shoulders.
Swung on, popped up, but is it catchable? Marte moving over toward the stands, right on top of you at Fenway. Can't get to it. And the Red Sox have plenty of offense. Varitek, if he were forced to go on the disabled list, now they were speculating that necessarily at this point, but him coming out of a game, I mean, early in the third inning of a game is a big red flag for Boston.
Terry Francona telling us before the game that he was here late last night trying to figure out what to do, not only with trades, but with Trot Nixon.
Fly ball well struck right center on the move. Sizemore. That's going to get right between the outfielders and bounce into that angle.
Won't be a triple.
420. No, I don't think it will. And Mirabelli will settle for the double with his catcher's speed, but he sucks a two-base hit.
Well, you know, there's 2 outs. I mean, you don't want to make the third out at third base. So that was a good move on Doug Mirabelli holding up here. That ball's hit every bit as hard as the one that Willie Mopena hit. It ends up in the exact same part of the ballpark. The only difference is Doug Mirabelli ends up 90 feet short of where Willie Mopena did.
So Paul Byrd will get a mound visit. He has, in every inning, been touched up for at least 1 run. 2 in the first. 2 in the second. Another home run here in the third. He's given up 2 big flies tonight. Now the double to the pinch hitter Mirabelli. Let's go back and see if we can detect where Varitek may have hurt himself. You mentioned on the bases. Here's a look. This last inning, applying the brakes there into second. Yeah, and coming up hobbled.
Look at that. I mean, I don't know if that's a knee or an ankle, but something obviously grabbed him really hard. That was right after that ground ball. It hit off the glove of second baseman Hector Luna by Coco Crisp. Varitek trying to look behind him.
Here's Crisp with a swing and a high fly, but foul, pulled down the right field line. Varitek, incidentally, tonight played in his 1,000th game as a major league catcher, and all of those with the Boston Red Sox. But in game number 1,000, some trouble, as he has to be removed from the game, an apparent injury in the third inning. Inside on Coco Crisp.
You know, Obi, when I think about that, I think back. I mean, you got to go back to 1997 when Varitek and Derek Lowe, a couple of guys that had not even gotten their big league career started, at the deadline came over for an established closer in Heathcliff Slocum from Seattle. Oops.
Yeah, oops for Seattle in a big way.
And now you could see why Theo Epstein doesn't want to throw some of that young pitching out there, possibly lose them. Look at this. Back in '88, Brady Anderson and a minor league right-handed pitcher named Kurt Schilling. Boddicker got him to the playoffs, helped them get there a couple of years, but obviously you'd rather have had those 2 guys. There it is, 97, and then, you know, Theo Epstein's proven that he'll make the right move if it's there to be done.
Yeah, like he did with Nomar Garciaparra, the move that obviously helped them win a World Series.
Brought in Cabrera, Mankiewicz. I mean, you know, the defense he provided, and then, of course, the stolen base, as it's called here in Boston, in Game 4 by Dave Roberts.
And for a while they said Mankiewicz stole the ball. The World Series ball from 2004 after that final out, but it's back where it belongs. Coco Crisp with a 2-2 pitch to him, and he hacks and fouls it away. He talk about the steal, the stolen base against the Yankees in the American League Championship Series. Dave Roberts.
Well, and when he went out to pinch run, he asked Terry Francona, what do you want? Terry Francona said it simple. I want you to touch home plate. Well, with a man on second, nobody out, that being Roberts, Francona could have put the sacrifice bunt on, but he didn't. He let Billy Miller swing the bat, the base hit, the run scored, the game was tied. The rest is history.
Red Sox would go on and win the game and then come storming from that 3-0 deficit so improbably and shock the New York Yankees.
I'll never forget you and I walking out of this ballpark after Game 3 and that big sign that said, "You fooled us again." Their fans were absolutely devastated by that loss.
Big foul off to the left by Coco Crisp.
So many great stories in that series. Schilling, and of course with the ankle and the surgeries and all. But to me, I remember Tim Wakefield running to the bullpen in Game 3. He was supposed to start Game 4, as was Snyder. Tonight's supposed to start tomorrow. I mean, obviously a different situation. Wakefield went down there. He finished the game to keep the bullpen fresh and to have an opportunity for that comeback. That's a team player.
Ortiz with 2 game-winning hits in that series. There's a liner in the center field for a base hit. Here comes Mirabelli, rounding third, trying to score. Throw will skip onto the catcher, the tag, and got him at the plate. That foot never reached the dish. Shopik was there with a tag. And Mirabelli could not turn that double into a triple. Now you see why. As with 2 outs, running as hard as those legs could carry him, he never got there. Coming up after this 1-minute break, Baseball Tonight, Steve Phillips breaking down all the trade deadline deals. On to the 4th inning, still tied. The Indians 5 and the Red Sox 5. Steve Phillips with us as we break down, Steve, a very busy trading day in the National League.
Los Angeles Dodgers very active today. They land Greg Maddux from the Chicago Cubs in a deal sending Cesar Izturis to the Cubs. But, you know, Maddux 5-0 for his first 5 starts of the year with a 1.35, 4-11 with a 5.77 cents. They hope they get the guy from early in the year. Dodgers also landing Julio Lugo, a guy that the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays had interest in. Lugo going to play second and then shift over to the third. And for the New York Mets, a wild day with Duaner Sanchez being in an accident and separating his shoulder. They land Roberto Hernandez and Oliver Perez for Xavier Nady. So the Mets, a nice save at the deadline, trying to refortify that bullpen, but certainly a devastating blow losing Sanchez for the Mets, guys.
All right, Steve, and the Mets, I mean, being as active as they were today, picking up a couple of players, is that one that you were looking at? Did you expect that with that huge lead in the National League East?
Well, I thought the Mets were going to do something, but I thought it was more starting pitching. There was a lot of talk about a possible Roy Oswalt deal with Tejada going to Houston, Oswalt going to the Orioles, and then Oswalt being spun off to the Mets with Lastings, Milledge, and prospects going back to Baltimore. But because the Orioles blew up the deal, sending Tejada, it ended up killing the Mets' possibilities of getting Oswalt in the deal.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. We are back for the 4th inning here in Boston. The Red Sox and the Indians locked up in a 5-5 tie. Hector Luna at second base tonight, doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. The Red Sox with 1 change behind the plate, as mentioned. Doug Mirabelli staying on, catching the rest of this thing for Veritek, who had to leave because of an injury. We'll get you an update on the Red Sox captain status as soon as we can. Mirabelli just gunned down at home plate moments ago, trying to score from second on a base hit by Coco Crisp. At third, there's Lowell, the scoop it moving to his left and fires on to get Luna. And Steve Phillips, a couple of more quick questions. I mean, from your angle, the Greg Maddux situation, Maddux going to Los Angeles, is that too late for the Dodgers to make a run, or is everybody alive in the NL West?
Well, I think everybody's alive. I mean, that's a collection of flawed teams out there. The Dodgers got off to a horrible start in the second half, but now over the weekend they sweep. They still have a shot, but they need Jeff Kent and Nomar Garciaparra to get back as quickly as possible because offense has been the major problem for the Dodgers.
You know, I think, too, a guy that I got to watch a lot at the minor league level, Oliver Perez, at one point was untouchable with the San Diego Padres. And then he kind of slipped a little bit, and the opportunity to trade him for Brian Giles. Of course, you know, Jason Bay was involved in that trade as well. But he's fallen out of favor there. He struggled in the starting rotation. I just wonder what working with Rick Peterson might be able to do for this kid if he can get back to where he was 2 years ago.
Missed inside on Chapek, who has a 2-run double tonight. That came in the second inning off David Wells. Wells' night started with a lot of promise. He got the innings 1, 2, 3. And the fans who were cheering for David Wells when he came out, his warm-up tosses, were cheering even louder then here at Fenway. Cut on and missed by Chapek. Well, they weren't cheering the second inning when he gave up 3 runs on 4 hits and gave up a couple of more runs in the second in the third inning. The Red Sox have bounced back, done plenty of offense for Boomer tonight, but
that's really the key to OB. I mean, without them scoring the 5 runs they've done, if you look at the scoreboard and you're down 5-0, you're giving up 5 runs, 5 hits in the third, it's frustrating. But when you score 5 yourself, you go, hey, we're still tired. I'll run him back out there for another inning.
Chapek really helping him out there, reaching up for that pitch, and he strikes out. Chapek, a nice job blocking the plate on Mirabelli, though, in the previous inning.
Well, he's right there. You know, you mentioned earlier, he's a former Red Sox hand. He was a #2 pick back in 2001. He's wanting to prove that they made a mistake when they let him go and sent him to Cleveland. Really a nice tag and a great throw by Grady Sizemore.
And Mirabelli never got there thanks to Chapek. Here's Marte taking a pitch up high. He's 0 for 1 tonight with a chopper to third.
Mirabelli was running hard. I mean, he's running as hard as he can run. He can't run fast.
Base is empty, 2 down. Another one at the feet of Mike Lowell and on target with the throw. There's 9 pitches in the inning and 6 in a row suddenly retired by David Wells. Willie Mo Pena will lead off. We come back to Fenway. Nightfall here in Boston, and the Indians and the Red Sox locked up at a 5-5 tie as we go off to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, Aaron Andrews with you. Willie Mo Pena already has a 2-run triple. Will be followed by Alex Cora and then Kevin Youkilis for Boston. That one swung on high, deep drive left field. It's fair. It is gone way up into the night and kissed that one goodbye. Out onto the street. The Red Sox retake the lead 6-5.
Well, it's the exact same problem that Paul Byrd has had all night long. He cannot get anything to the first base side of home plate. Kelly Chapek, the catcher, constantly sitting on the outside part of the plate. There he is. He's down, but look at where the pitch ends up. There was no question about that pitch. It was just a matter of how far it was going to go.
Cora takes one up high. Willie Mo Pena with every reason to smile. Like Big Papi going after the very first pitch.
You know, sometimes you got to wait on the trade. I mean, everybody said, what in the world did they let Bronson Arroyo go for? This is Willie Mo Pena guy that got hurt. Let's give it a couple of months and then see who's got the better part of that deal.
Looks like David Ortiz is taking him under his wing and helping to work some miracles. A little ground ball out to Peralta, who throws on to retire Cora. 1 man out. Time now for a SportsCenter 30 at 30. Let's go back to the studio and Bill Pito.
All right, Dave, biggest day to move on trade deadline day. Greg Maddux going from the Cubs to the Dodgers for Cesar Izturis. Maddux started the year 5-0, but has gone only 4-11 since. Alfonso Soriano not traded today, but the Tigers did acquire Sean Casey from Pittsburgh for a minor league pitcher. Casey, a 3-time All-Star, has had back trouble this year. Constant updates on ESPN News and mobile ESPN next SportsCenter at 11 p.m. Eastern.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Kevin Youkilis standing in. He is 0 for 2 tonight. He has struck out and lined out sharply to the second baseman as he takes outside for a ball. Willie Mo Pena showing off his terrific power as he cracks the 3rd home run of the night off of Bird, and so Davis, the right-hander, quickly starts to loosen up for Cleveland. Pitching has certainly been the problem for the Indians. It hasn't been lack of offense. Their staff ERA is 4th worst in the American League, and that's the reason they've tumbled to 24.5 games behind Detroit.
Well, but you had to expect that with all of the people that they lost.
Fly to center field, driving back Sizemore. Plenty of room there to snatch it. 2 down.
Let's let K-Zone prove our point and the problem for Paul Byrd tonight and not being able to get anything to the first base side of home plate. Manny Ramirez, he missed his location. Homer, there's a triple. There's a base hit, line drive. And then there's another homer by Big Papi. Here's a double. Well, it was a triple that ended up being a double by Doug Mirabelli. And then just an absolute crush piece by Willie Mopena. He has got to make an adjustment here. David Wells made an adjustment in the last inning. He gave up on the curveball. He just threw the changeup fastball and changed speeds on the fastball, getting the ground balls in the strikeout. Albert has got to make an adjustment. He's got to either move on the mound or he's got to alter his release point to get the ball away.
It's his second straight poor outing. High fly left center field, shading over Sizemore, and he puts it away for the third and final out. But Willie Mopena, he hit one where no one could catch it unless you're on the street. His fifth home run, 6-5.